Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make this super cute granny square that's a little bit more unique than your traditional granny square. As you can see, it has these little decals in between each of the rows in your granny square. So if you're someone who has made granny squares before and you're hoping to elevate your granny square game and learn how to make something a little bit more unique and stands out a little bit more, this is the perfect video for you. So you can pretty much use any size yarn or hook that you guys want. I personally really like using any scrap yarn that I have left from previous projects, just because it's a really good way to get usage out of all the yarn that is typically just laying around. For this project specifically, I'm using Burnout Softy Cotton, just in case you guys are curious. It's a really nice cotton yarn. It's a lightweight cotton, it's size 3, and it recommends using a size 4mm crochet hook. One thing I will say about this granny square is that it does end up being a little bit bigger than a standard granny square that you may have made with the same yarn and hook, just because it does have this additional little decor on the side, and so it adds a little bit more space onto your granny square. So just as an example, this is a granny square that I made with the same type of yarn and the same size needle, but you can see that it is quite a bit bigger. It's a little bit more it has more holes and more space in between compared to this one that has maybe a little bit less. It's a little bit more tight. So depending on the look you're going for, this could be a really cool option to use. And I'll show you a couple of examples at the end of what you can use your granny square for. So be sure to stick around and let's get started. All right, so to get started, you can see over here I have all of my scrap yarn ready to go. I'm going to be using a 4mm hook today, and I also highly encourage you guys to get one of these. It's a stitch marker. Since there's a lot of chains and it's really easy to lose track of where your stitches are, I highly recommend using one of these. All right, so to get started, we're going to start in the center, and I'm going to be using this nice peach color. So the way we're going to start is by creating a magic ring. So for those of you guys who don't know how to do that, I'm going to show you really quick. You're going to take your string and place it over on top of your 2 fingers. You're going to grab onto that. You're going to wrap it under and across your 2 fingers like that and hold onto that string. Then we're going to take our hook. We're going to go underneath the first one. We're going to grab onto that second one. We're going to pull through, and so it looks like this. Grab onto that, and then chain 1. And that's your magic loop. So to get started with the center of this granny square, it's going to start off like a very standard granny square. So the way we're going to do that was we're going to chain 3. That first chain that we did in the magic circle doesn't count. So we're going to chain 3. And then here's where you need your stitch marker. Go ahead and put it through that last chain that you just did. So this counts as 1 double crochet. From there, we're going to put in 2 more double crochets. Inside the center of the magic ring. All right, so we've got our 3 double crochets, then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets inside of the magic ring. And we're just going to repeat that 2 more times. So we're going to chain 2, insert 3 double crochets inside of the magic ring, crochet 2 more times, and then insert 3 more double crochets inside of the magic ring. To finish off this first part, we're going to just chain 2 again. And then if you see the short tail of your work from when you created the magic ring, you're just going to hold on to these stitches that you've made and slowly start to close your magic loop. Pull it nice and tight. So you already have the chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that we did earlier. So right where your stitch marker is, you can go ahead and remove that as long as you can keep an eye on where that stitch is. And we're just going to slip stitch right inside there. From there, you're going to chain 1, and we're just going to snip our yarn, and we're just going to pull it all the way through. So here is the center of our granny square. I know it doesn't look like much yet, but this is basically the foundation of what we're going to be building our granny square on. So you can see right here, this is what it looks like, is the center. And so let's go ahead and move on to the next row. Okay, so to get started on the second row, if you guys look at the finished work, you might think that this dark blue color is going to be your second row, but it's actually going to be this teal color. So this little teal that's poking through in between each of the rounds is going to be considered its own row. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how that works. And so we're going to do this teal row after every color change. If that doesn't make sense, it's okay. I'm going to walk you through it. So if you look at our original granny square, you'll remember that we did 3 double crochets and then chain 2s. So you'll see that now we have these little chain 2 spaces in between the 3 double crochets. So in order to start your second row, we're going to grab the teal color, not the dark blue. We're going to grab this teal color, and then we're going to insert our hook into one of those chain 2 spaces just to pull the yarn through. So it should look like this. Be sure to leave a little bit of a tail, but not too much. You just want to make sure you have maybe an inch or 2. And the way we're going to secure this next color onto our work is just by double knotting it onto our previous round in that chain 2 space. So that way it's extra secure. So to get the row started, we're just going to stick our hook into that chain 2 space, pull through and chain 1, and now we are ready to go. Just as a reminder, as you're working through your rounds, it'll be a good idea to try to stitch over your tail, so that way you don't have to weave them all in at the end of the work. That's how I usually like to do them. So to get started, we're going to insert our crochet hook into that same chain 2 space that we just double knotted ourselves into, and we're going to do 1 single crochet. Grab your stitch marker and mark that first single crochet. From there, we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to do 1 more single crochet in that same chain 2 space. So far everything has been worked within the chain 2 space from the previous round. Cool, so that's what it's looking like so far. I know it doesn't look like much, but I promise it's going to look really cute in the end. So once we have that corner settled, we're going to chain 3 to go in between the 2 chain spaces. We're going to find the next chain 2 space and insert our hook and single crochet 1. We're going to chain 3 and then single crochet again in the same chain 2 space. Be sure to work over any tails if you don't want to weave them all in at the end. We're going to continue the same thing, chain 3, find the next chain 2 space, and you can work over this tail yarn. single crochet 1, followed by 3 chains, and then single crochet 1 again in the same chain 2 space. We're going to keep repeating this. So chain 3, single crochet 1 into the chain 2 space, chain 3, single crochet once, and chain 3. And the way we're going to end this row is you're going to look for that stitch marker we put on the first single crochet on our very first stitch. You can remove that and keep an eye on the stitch that you're going to insert your hook into. So insert your hook into there, and we're just going to slip stitch our yarn, chain 1, then we're going to snip our yarn, and then pull all the way through. So this is what round 2 is looking like so far. So let's keep working and do our next color. All right, so to get started on our next row, we're going to be picking this dark blue color. You guys don't have to use the same colors that I am, but basically this row is what we're going to be working next. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that color. It's this nice blue color. And here's what our work is looking like so far. So if you guys remember these little chain 3 loops that we made on the corners of our work, that's where we're going to be starting our next row. So not the chain 3 space in between the corners. We're going to focus on the corner from, remember when we did the single crochet, chain 3, and then single crochet? That's the chain 3 that we're going to be focusing on, not this middle one. So to get started, we're going to insert our hook into that chain 3 space, and we're just going to pull our next color through. In the same way we attached the yarn from the previous row, we're going to do it exactly the same. We're just going to double knot it. And be sure to leave a little tail. From there, we're going to insert our hook, pull the yarn through, chain 1, and now we're ready to start our row. So to get started, we're going to chain 3. You're going to grab your stitch marker and insert that stitch marker on that last chain you just made. And this counts as 1 double crochet. To continue, we're going to do 2 more double crochets into that same chain 3 space. So it should look something like this. So you have the chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, followed by 2 more double crochets. From there, we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to insert 3 more double crochets into that same chain 3 space. So it's going to be a little tight, but that's okay. 1, 2. All right, so we just made our first corner. Looks a little funky right now, but it's going to come together in a little bit. So the next thing that we're going to do that we didn't do in the previous rounds is that we're going to start working into these chain 3s in between the corners. So in order to do that, we're just going to start by chaining 1. And so you'll see this little chain 3 space from the previous row. We're going to we're going to do 3 double crochets within that chain 3 space. So what that looks like is you're going to grab your hook, insert into that chain 3 space. It should look something like this. And we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. So here's how it looks so far. 1 corner, and then we got the 3 double crochets in the middle. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to make another corner at this corner. So we're going to start by double crocheting, putting 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space that we made from the previous row. And we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to double crochet 3 more double crochets into that chain 3 space. So now we have our second corner. We're going to repeat that same thing again. I'll do a few more with you. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to find that chain 3 from the previous row and double crochet 3 into that chain space. 1, 2, 3, and chain 1. Next, we're going to make another corner. We're going to do 3 double crochets, 3 chains, 3 double crochets in that corner. Let's go ahead and insert 1,
2, 3, chain 3, and 3 more double crochets.
Go ahead and repeat that one more time. 3 double crochets in the chain 3 space in between the corners. We're going to make a corner over here, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets in here. And don't forget the chain 1 in between. So chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then make a corner.
Chain 3, 3 double crochets,
there's that last corner that we just made. Chain 1, we're going to do our 3 last double crochets in the chain 3 space in between the corners. Chain 1, and to end this row, we're going to go ahead and find that stitch marker from the beginning. We're going to remove it and slip stitch into that to the stitch. I'm going to slip, stitch, chain 1 to end the row. And pull through. So it's coming along quite nicely. If you guys want to start trimming some of your the back side of your granny square, if you don't like it messy, you can go ahead and start doing that as you go, or you can just wait till the end. As long as you've been weaving it in as you go, you should be okay. So if you want to cut it at the end, you're more than welcome to do so, but I'm going to start cutting them as I go, just so for the video it looks a little bit nicer. So here's what it looks like so far. Okay, so for the next round, we're going to go back to this teal color because we're going to do that teal round after every color change. So since we just did this blue, this dark blue, we're going to do another round of teal before we start with the yellow. Okay, so to get started on the next round, we are going to pick any of these corners and attach our teal yarn. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick this one. Pull our yarn through, and we're going to attach it by double knotting into the space. Okay. All right, so once we have our yarn attached, we're just going to chain 1 to secure it. And then in order to get started, we're going to start by inserting 1 single crochet into that corner space. and we're going to mark it with our stitch marker. We're going to chain 3, and then we're going to do another single crochet within that same chain 3 space. So this is what it should be looking like so far. From here, we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to look for the next chain 1 spot that's in between the cluster of 3 double crochets. So right here, you're going to go ahead and insert your hook and single crochet 1. We're going to chain 3, find the next chain 1 space and single crochet into there, and then we're going to chain 3, and then now we are at our corner section. So we're going to repeat the same thing. We're going to insert 1 single crochet, chain 3, and insert 1 more single crochet, all within the corner space from the previous row. We're just going to keep repeating this pattern. We're going to chain 3, find that chain 1 from the previous round and single crochet into that space, chain 3, find that next chain 1, single crochet, chain 3, and now we're back at our corner again, so we're going to single crochet 1, chain 3, and single crochet 1. So here's what it's looking like so far. We're just going to keep repeating that pattern until we get all the way back here, and once we do get back to the end, we're going to slip stitch into this single crochet that is marked with the stitch marker. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our round. As you can see, we have 1 single crochet left, and then we're going to chain 3, find that stitch marker and remove it. Then we're just going to slip stitch into that single crochet right here, and then chain 1 to finish off that round. Great. So here's how it's looking so far. If you want to start trimming your tails, if they've been worked over, you're more than welcome to do that, but sometimes I just like to keep them and do them all at the end. So yeah, that's the end of that row. Next, we're going to move on to this yellow color. Okay, so time for our next row. I'm using this mustard yellow color, but feel free to use whatever color you guys want. So to get started, we're going to look at our previous row and find the corner again. So there should be a little chain 3 loop right here. This is where we're going to attach our next yarn to. We're going to attach it in the same exact way by double knotting. And from here, we're going to start off our row by chaining 3. We're also going to use our stitch marker and mark the top of that, okay, because this is going to count as our first double crochet. So once that yarn is attached, once that clip is attached, this is the first double crochet. We're going to insert 2 more double crochets. And we're basically making a corner just like we did with this navy blue round. So now we have 3, the chain 3s, and then the 2 double crochets. We're going to chain 3, and then we're going to insert 3 more double crochets in that same chain 3 space from before. So exactly the same spot that all the other ones are in so far.
1, 2, and 3.
So here's our little corner. You can see it's looking good so far. And from here, we're going to continue our round just like we did this navy blue round, except it's just going to be a little bit more since it's bigger. So we're going to chain 1 and look for this chain 3 space from the previous row. And we're going to insert 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. So that's what it should be looking like. Chain 1, find the next chain 3 space from the previous round and insert 3 double crochets. Chain 1, find the next chain 3 and insert 3 double crochets. So now we've made it over to our next corner. So the way we're going to make a corner piece is we're just going to chain 1. We're going to insert 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. We're going to chain 3 and then insert 3 more double crochets into that space. So now we have our second corner. We're going to keep repeating that pattern all the way around until we get back to this start of this corner over here. So I'll do one more side with you. So we just chained 1 and we're going to insert 3 double crochets into this chain space.
1, 2, 3.
And don't forget to chain 1 in between your 3 double crochets every time. Okay, so now we're at the next corner. We're just going to do the same exact thing. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to insert 3 double crochets, 3 chains, and then 3 more double crochets, all in this corner piece right here. So go ahead and keep following that pattern, and I'll meet you guys when we're back at the beginning of the round. All right, so we're nearing the end of our row, so I'm just gonna finish it off with you guys. So to end things, we just did 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. We're going to chain 1, remove your stitch marker, and then slip stitch into that stitch. We're going to chain 1 to fasten off. Great. So here's how we're looking so far. So we're going to continue this pattern by going back to that teal color to create the little teal pieces in between the colors. Okay, so to get started on the next row, we're going to go ahead and go back to that teal color. So we're going to go ahead and grab our yarn, and the pattern is going to be the exact same. So we're basically just starting in the corner and making that little corner loop. We're going to chain 3 and then single crochet into the chain 1 spaces from the previous round. And then anytime you hit a corner, we're going to do that corner single crochet, chain 3, single crochet pattern all the way around. So if you guys want a more in-depth explanation, you can always go back and rewind the video. But since this pattern is pretty repetitive, I'm just going to go through it pretty quickly, and I'll get you guys started with this row again. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to fasten our teal color to any of the corner pieces. So any corner that has the chain 3. And from there, we're going to chain 1 to secure, then insert 1 single crochet. Don't forget to mark that first single crochet with your stitch marker. From there, we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to single crochet back into that same space. So you should have a little corner that looks like that. From there, we're going to chain 3, single crochet into that chain 1 space from the previous round, chain 3, find that chain 1 space from the previous round, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, and now we're back at our next corner. So we're going to go ahead and find that little chain 3 space, and we're going to insert 1 single crochet, chain 3, and then 1 single crochet. So go ahead and keep repeating that pattern until you get back to the stitch marker, and I will meet you guys over there. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our row. So I'm going to finish it off by chaining 3, finding that stitch marker, and then slip stitching into that first single crochet in order to complete the round. Chain 1 and pull the yarn through. Cool. So we're looking great. Our granny square is getting bigger, and pretty soon we'll have another one of these. So next up, we're going to go ahead and do that red color. The great thing about granny squares is that the patterns tend to be very repetitive. So the red color is going to follow the same exact pattern that we did for the yellow and the navy blue. So I'll go ahead and get that started with you guys. But like I said, it's super repetitive. So if you need a refresher, just feel free to rewind the video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the red. So just like we did the navy blue and the yellow rounds, we're going to do it the exact same way. And we're going to start with a corner. So just attach the yarn like we've been doing with the double knot. Okay, don't forget your stitch marker. We're going to chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, so be sure to mark that top chain. Then we're going to do 2 more double crochets into that corner. We're going to chain 3, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets into that same corner. We're going to chain 1, and then find that next chain 3 space. We're going to do 3 double crochets into that space. Chain 1, and continue on with the pattern, just like we've been doing for the other color rows. So yeah, as you've noticed, this we started with the peach, the blue and the yellow and the red all follow the same pattern. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this row, and I will meet you guys when we're back at the beginning. So for me, that was the last color change, but If you wanted a bigger granny square, or you just wanted to continue on the pattern with more colors, you're more than welcome to do so. It's the exact same thing as we've been doing, but I think for me the red is going to be the last color change, so before we ended off with the teal. So if you want to keep going, you just do the same pattern we've been doing with the teal in between the colors. But if you're ready to end it like I am right now, then let's go ahead and start with our final teal row. All right, so to finish things off, we're going to go ahead and grab our teal color, and then it's going to start off pretty much exactly how we've been doing the teal rows in between. The only difference being that when we get to the end of the row, we're not going to bind off. We're going to keep working another row with the teal yarn. So after this red row, we're going to do 2 rows of teal. So please remember that, and remember not to break the yarn off. So in order to get started, we're going to find a corner. We're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet, and we're going to mark that single crochet with a stitch marker. We're going to chain 3 and single crochet. So basically the exact same way we did this previous teal rows. The only difference is that you do not bind off at the end. So once you've got 1 single crochet, 3 chains, and 1 more single crochet, we're going to chain 3, find the chain 1 from the previous row, insert your hook and single crochet, chain 3, find that next chain 1 space, single crochet, and go ahead and continue that pattern. So basically exactly how we've been doing it, just don't bind off when we're at the end of the row. So go ahead and continue that pattern, and I'll meet you back at this stitch marker over here. The way we're going to end this row is we're going to chain 3 and then slip stitch into that stitch with the marker in it. And then we're going to chain 1. Okay, so don't cut the yarn. The way we're going to end the row, and this is our final row, is we're basically just going to do a single crochet into every single crochet from the previous round, and any of these chain 3 spaces that you see, like I'm holding right here, we're going to put 3 single crochets into those. Additionally, for any of the corners, we're going to do 5 single crochets within that chain 3 space. So any of these guys over here in the corners. So to get started, we just did 1 chain, and in that stitch that we just went into, we're going to do 1 single crochet and then use the stitch marker to mark that. And so since we're starting off in a corner with this chain 3 space, we're going to insert 5 single crochets into that chain 3 space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From there, for every single crochet that you see, so any of these little stitches that you can see right here, we're going to insert 1 single crochet, and then any of these chain 3 spaces, we're going to insert 3 double crochets. So let's go ahead and get that started. So I just saw a single crochet here, which is why I'm going to insert a single crochet in here. And then this is my tail from the previous round, so I'm just going to pull that a little tighter. So chain 3 space, we're going to insert our hook just like that, do 3 single crochets. We're coming up on a single crochet, so right on top of that we're just going to do a single crochet. Next, chain 3 space, insert 3, single crochet. We're gonna insert 1, chain 3 space, we're gonna insert 3. So go ahead and keep following that pattern, and then I will meet you at the end of this. I'll meet you over here so that we can do the corner piece together. So if you remember from the previous round, in the corners we did 1 single crochet, 3 chains, and 1 single crochet. So go ahead and find that first single crochet and insert another single crochet right on top of that. And then next we've got this little chain 3 space, and since it's a corner piece, we're going to insert 5 single crochets. Finish up the corner by adding 1 single crochet on top of the single crochet from the previous round. And now we're back at our chain 3. This is also the tail from the previous round, so I'm just going to tighten that. So yeah, basically keep following that pattern of 3 single crochets on top of the chain 3, 1 single crochet on top of the single crochet, and then 5 single crochets in any of the corner pieces. So go ahead and keep following that pattern, and then I'll meet you when we're towards the end of the row. Okay, so we are so close to being done. I'm going to finish off the round with you. So 1 single crochet into the previous single crochet, and then 3 single crochets in that last chain 3 space. Oops. I messed that up right at the end. Okay, so from here we are going to find that stitch marker from the previous round, remove it, and we're just going to slip stitch into that and then chain 1 in order to bind off. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see any cool projects that you guys make using this unique granny square. You can make a little tote bag, you can make a blanket, there are so many possibilities. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to see you again. Thank you so much. Bye.